Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I have two daughters. Let's call them Emma, older, and Chloe, younger. They're two very different people, and I suppose that's where the tension began. Emma, my eldest, has always been more introverted, practical, and academically focused. She sets a goal and works methodically toward it without expecting much fanfare. Chloe, on the other hand, is naturally charismatic, outgoing, and, well, I'll say it, stunning. Since she was a little girl, people would approach us gushing how pretty she is. She was quick to make friends, effortlessly excelled in sports, and turned heads wherever she went. This difference in personalities and how others perceive them created an undercurrent of tension between them from a young age. Emma always felt like she had to work twice as hard for half the recognition. While Chloe was flooded with compliments and attention, Emma's achievements were met with polite praise, but never the same level of admiration. I could see that it bothered her, but she kept it to herself. She was never one to make a scene, and she rarely let her feelings show. Chloe, however, was fully aware of the attention she got, and while I don't think she deliberately rubbed it in Emma's face, she didn't go out of her way to downplay it either. As their father, I tried to treat them equally, but I know it must have been difficult for Emma to watch her younger sister thrive in ways she felt she couldn't. Then high school hit, and the stakes seemed to rise. Chloe began receiving more attention than ever, particularly from boys. She was always surrounded by admirers, and it became something of a joke among her friends. Emma, meanwhile, was more focused on her studies and didn't really date. She didn't seem interested in that kind of social scene, or if she was, she never mentioned it. I thought we'd settled into sort of an equilibrium, where Emma had her academic accomplishments and Chloe had her social popularity. But everything changed when Chloe developed a massive crush on a boy named Ryan. He was handsome, athletic, well-liked by teachers and students alike. Chloe became obsessed. She'd talk about him at dinner, find excuses to bump into him at school, and spend hours agonizing over what to wear or say to catch his attention. She was determined to make him notice her. The problem was, Ryan never really seemed interested. He'd talk to her in a friendly, polite way, but there was never any indication that he wanted more. I remember telling Chloe that sometimes people just don't feel the same way, but she refused to accept it. She was certain that if she just tried a little harder, he'd see her the way she saw him. For the rest of high school, this crush consumed her. While her friends were dating and having fun, Chloe remained fixated on Brian. She would accidentally show up at places she knew he'd be, volunteer for school projects just because he was on the team, and constantly analyze every interaction they had. Looking back, it bordered on obsession. I thought it was just a phase, something she'd laugh about in a few years. Ryan, for his part, remained friendly but distant. He never showed any interest beyond basic courtesy. Chloe was heartbroken, but still wouldn't let go of the idea that he was the one. Even when high school ended, she still brought him up from time to time, wondering what he was doing, if he was dating anyone, if she'd ever have another chance to win him over. When Emma went off to college, Chloe stayed behind to finish high school. But then Emma ended up at the same college as Ryan, and that's when things took a turn none of us could have expected. At first, I didn't think much of it. Emma mentioned that she'd run into Ryan in one of her classes, and they'd been paired up for a project. She said he seemed nice, and they'd been hanging out a bit. I didn't know the full extent of their relationship until much later. Emma and Ryan grew closer over time. They started dating, and it became serious. By the time I realized what was happening, they'd been together for over a year. Emma didn't tell Chloe right away. She probably knew it would be a disaster. But eventually, she had to bring Ryan home for the holidays, and it didn't go well. When Emma introduced Ryan as her boyfriend, Chloe's face turned pale, and she left the room without saying a word. Later, she confronted Emma in private, accusing her of betraying her. She said Emma had no right to date Ryan, that he had been hers first, and that Emma had crossed a line. Emma tried to explain that Ryan was never interested in Chloe, that they weren't in high school anymore, and that relationships don't work that way. But Chloe wouldn't listen. She saw Emma's relationship with Ryan as a personal attack, a deliberate move to hurt her. Over the next year, Chloe's behavior became increasingly erratic. She'd make snide remarks about Emma and Ryan whenever they came up in conversation. When Ryan visited, she'd go out of her way to flirt with him, laughing a little too loudly at his jokes and touching his arm whenever she got the chance. Emma and Ryan, however, tried to ignore her. They didn't take the bait. Chloe's attempts to break them up only seemed to bring them closer together. Then Emma told the family that Ryan had proposed and she'd said yes, and Chloe completely lost it. She screamed at Emma, accusing her of stealing the man she was supposed to marry. She cried, yelled, and stormed out of the house. It was one of the most painful scenes I'd ever witnessed between my daughters. I went after Chloe and tried to calm her down, but nothing I said made a difference. In her mind, Emma didn't have the right to date Ryan, more so to marry him. She told me she couldn't believe I'd allow this to happen, as if I had any control over who fell in love with whom. When the wedding invitations went out, Emma made a difficult choice. She decided not to invite Chloe. After everything Chloe had done, trying to sabotage their relationship, openly flirting with Ryan, and accusing Emma of theft, Emma felt it was best not to have her there. Chloe, of course, was furious. She said Emma was ruining the family, that she was selfish, and that she didn't deserve to be happy. Then she turned her anger toward me. Chloe demanded that I boycott the wedding. She said if I truly loved her, I'd support her and not attend the wedding of the woman who stole the love of her life. She insisted that Emma had crossed an unforgivable line, and that as her father, I needed to stand by her. I told her I wouldn't do that. I said Emma hadn't done anything wrong, that Ryan was never hers to begin with, and that I wasn't going to punish Emma for falling in love. Chloe didn't take it well. She told me that if I went to the wedding, she'd cut me out of her life. She said I'd no longer be her father. Now I'm at a loss. I love both my daughters, and it breaks my heart to see them at odds like this. But Chloe's demands feel unreasonable. She's asking me to disown one daughter for something that wasn't her fault. I don't want to lose Chloe, but I can't support her in this. Emma deserves to be happy, and she deserves my support on her wedding day. I don't know how to make Chloe understand that she has no right to Ryan, and that her sister didn't steal him from her. Am I the a-hole for refusing to disown one daughter to appease the other? It seems like Chloe never managed to let go of her high school crush, and now she's channeling all of that unresolved resentment toward Emma. It's important to remember that Ryan was never Chloe's boyfriend. He never reciprocated her feelings, and it's not fair for her to expect everyone around her to treat him as though he belonged to her. Emma's relationship with Ryan happened naturally, and the fact that they fell in love isn't a betrayal. It's just life. Chloe's demand that OP disowns Emma and refuses to attend her wedding isn't just unreasonable. It's completely out of line. She's asking OP to choose sides in a battle that she's creating out of nothing. Chloe needs to understand that love doesn't work like this, and people aren't possessions. While it's painful that Chloe may cut ties with OP over this, that's her decision, not OP's. Supporting Emma's wedding is the right thing to do. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Absolutely not the a-hole. What Chloe is asking of you is completely unfair and unrealistic. Ryan was never hers to begin with. He wasn't her boyfriend. They didn't have a relationship, and he never showed interest in her beyond polite casual interactions. For Chloe to claim that Emma stole the love of her life is absurd. You can't steal someone who wasn't yours in the first place. I understand that Chloe's upset, but that doesn't justify her behavior. She's trying to force you to choose between your children, which isn't fair. You're not picking sides here. You're supporting one daughter's happiness while refusing to indulge the other's unreasonable demands. If Chloe chooses to distance herself because you won't disown Emma, that's on her, not you. You've done nothing wrong by standing your ground and refusing to punish Emma for falling in love. You're definitely not the a-hole here. Chloe's refusal to move on from her high school crush has turned into an ongoing campaign of resentment and bitterness towards Emma. What she's asking of you, boycotting your daughter's wedding and cutting her out of your life, is entirely unfair. You shouldn't have to choose between your daughters just because one of them can't let go of the past. Emma's relationship with Ryan happened years after Chloe's high school crush. Ryan made his own choices, and he chose Emma. Chloe's feelings don't entitle her to dictate who her sister can or can't marry. Her behavior has been increasingly inappropriate, flirting with Ryan, trying to create drama between them, and outright accusing Emma of stealing someone who was never hers. It's not just immature, it's manipulative. As their father, you're caught in a painful situation, but it's clear that Chloe's demands are unreasonable. You're not turning on her or being disloyal by refusing to disown Emma. Instead, you're standing by what's right. Chloe needs to understand that love isn't something you can claim ownership over. You're not choosing one daughter over the other. You're refusing to enable toxic behavior. Hopefully, Chloe will come to see that her anger isn't justified and that her attempts to control the situation are only pushing you and Emma further away. Until then, hold your ground and know that you're doing what's best for everyone involved. Update. I went to Emma's wedding. It was a beautiful event, and she looked genuinely happy as she married someone she clearly loves. It was difficult knowing Chloe wasn't there, but I knew I had made the right decision by attending. When I came home, though, I found that Chloe was gone. She had packed up her things and left. There was no note, no call, nothing. Just an empty room. I tried calling her, but she didn't answer. It was clear she was serious about cutting ties, and now I'm left heartbroken. I love both of my daughters, and I never wanted to lose Chloe over this. I hoped that she would eventually see things differently, but right now, it looks like she's gone. It's hard to describe how much this hurts. I've known this friend of mine for a few years now. We started college together and have grown close over the years. I was excited when I found out that my friend got engaged, and even more excited when she told me that she chose me to be her maid of honor. She's found a great guy, and I'm glad that she is happy. While I am happy for her, I've got to say that she hasn't been acting like herself at all. She's become quite demanding when it comes to her wedding, which I understand that she wants to be happy with her wedding. I want her to have a great time and be satisfied with how it turns out. It's just that she expects me to completely plan everything for her on my own and pay for so many expenses that I don't even have the money for. As her maid of honor and her friend, I'm more than willing to help out, but I can't completely plan and pay for all of this on my own. I've never even been in a wedding before, so I've no clue where to start. As of right now, she expects me to plan her 2 wedding showers, one of which is far off in another state with the groom's family. I've no idea how I'm going to go about that. She also wants me to plan an engagement party, the rehearsal dinner, and a bachelorette party, spa day for all the bridesmaids, along with a dress hunt for her wedding dress and all of the bridesmaids' dresses. She has put me in charge of buying and making decorations for all of the parties and wedding itself, setting up their wedding registry for engagement gifts, creating and sending out invitations, making any and all reservations regarding the wedding, setting up and cleaning up the parties and wedding, hiring a photographer and getting them a cake, and choosing a caterer for the wedding. I am expected to pay for her expenses along with mine in regards to the spa treatment, which in and of itself would cost me around $200, depending on the prices of the place she has picked out. And I'm also expected to buy her other bridal gifts, such as a tiara. She wants me to pay for her manicure, pedicure, and hair treatment for the day of the wedding. I'm also expected to fund all the parties involved with the wedding. I feel absolutely overwhelmed by all of the things that she is telling me that I have to plan and pay for on my own. I'm in the process of looking for a job, so I don't know where all of this money for her wedding could even come from. I've tried to explain to her that money is tight for me, and I don't know how much I could pay for her other than the basic things like my dress. But she won't listen to me. I've tried to explain to her that I'm happy to help, but I can't do all of this completely on my own. She just will not listen. And if you're wondering why her parents aren't involved, her mother is leaving for a month or 2 on a trip, so she won't even be here to help with anything. Her father is always busy with work, but her parents have never been very involved in her life, sadly. She has scheduled this wedding for only a few months away, despite me telling her that holding off for a little while may give us more time to get everything done like she wants it. But she doesn't want to listen to me. I feel so guilty because I feel like I'm being a bad friend to her by being unable to do things like she wants it. But there's just no way that I can take care of all of this on my own. What do you think I should do? I'm afraid of creating conflict with her because she has a habit of dropping friends when she has any sort of conflict with them. even if the friend tries to work it out with her. She can be stubborn about it. I don't want to lose her as a friend, especially now that she has a wedding coming up, but I just feel at a loss of what to do. Edit. I will just have to be firm and explain to her that I can't pay for and plan everything all on my own. A lot of people have been asking me why I would want this friend to stick around, since it seems like she hasn't been acting like a good friend. Well, she has pulled through for me in the past when I've had serious things happen in my life. I felt like I could talk to her about anything, and she'd be supportive of me. Although, to be honest, she has always had a bit of a self-centered streak. Like last Halloween, for example. We each made our own costumes, and she didn't seem to like it when I got compliments on mine, as if she felt like I was taking the spotlight from her or something. But I just figured that everyone has their things about them that aren't perfect. I never thought that things would turn out like this when she got engaged. Also, I'm very shy and reserved, so other than my boyfriend and my family, I don't exactly have tons of friends. I guess I was just afraid of losing one of the few friends that I had. That goes way beyond what the maid of honor is supposed to plan and pay for. You pay for your dress and a gift. It's not your job to pay for the entire wedding. That's her and her fiancé's job. My sister and I are very close. We talk at least once a week. We have sometimes had a strained relationship, as sisters will. I got engaged last March. When I met my fiancé 4 years ago, I knew there was a reason I waited this long. I am so happy and excited to marry him. I guess I'll give a few basics here to clear up questioning motives. I am a successful IT consultant, never been married, never been engaged. I was never the type of person that needed to get married. I don't want kids, etc. My sister lives in New York City and has a very prestigious position at a well-known high-end company. Think fashion jewelry. She's never been married or engaged either. She is what some people might call high maintenance, but that's okay. She's not obnoxious about it. She just likes nice things and gets her hair and nails done on the regular, etc. I like things too, but I like different things. I live in the Great Lakes area, and I like to camp, fish, mushroom hunt, garden, take our little boat out, etc. We have very different lifestyles. My sister's reaction when I told her we got engaged was weird. She kept asking when I was going to get my diamond. My ring doesn't have a diamond for the main stone because I had told my fiancé that I don't need one, and if I want one down the road, I would get one. She asked me 3 times when I was going to get a diamond. When I finally said, I don't know and I don't care, it was almost like she couldn't wait to get off the phone. It was seriously like that was the only thing she cared about. The next time I talked to her, she asked if she was my maid of honor. That's awkward. Isn't that one of the fun things a bride gets to do? I had already talked to my mom about it, and she said that my sister would be very hurt if I didn't ask her to be my maid of honor. So I said something like, it's not a formal wedding party, but yes, I'd like you and my best friend to be co-maids of honor. Now that we're getting into the major planning stuff, the wedding is in June. Everything I've asked her to do has been met with something between okay and meh on the enthusiasm scale. Example, I basically had to turn to our little sister, 33 female, for the dresses they are going to wear, because she just didn't return any of the emails I sent with ideas. When me and little sister picked one and we emailed it to her, she responded with basically, I think it's kind of weird that you are going to order them from there, but okay. Thanks for your input. One of the things I really want is a girls' weekend before the wedding. I am still close with friends from high school and people I have met over the years. I sent her a few ideas, and she said she would take charge. She sent exactly 1 email over a month ago to 4 of my friends and little sis. It had 1 date idea. Everyone responded with alternative dates and questions, and she just never followed up. I asked her if she really wanted to be involved, and she insisted that she did. I sent her a map with my friends' locations. We are scattered around the East Coast, and a location on the East Coast that I wanted to go to. I also told her that a few people were asking about it. This was last week, and she said she would send a message to the group that night. I find out this past weekend that nothing has been sent. I sent her a very long, well-thought-out email. I basically poured my heart out. I said how important my wedding is to me, and how important she is to me, and that I want her to feel special, and this should be fun, and it doesn't seem like fun to her. I didn't feel like she was all in, and that's okay. I offered to take it off her plate because it should be fun for me, and she again said no, I want to do this. Later that day, I get an email from her essentially saying, it's going to be really hard corralling people to fly somewhere for the weekend. Would you be okay if it was just me, you, and 2 of my friends' names? No mention of our other sister, or my mother who asked to go, or any of the 12 or so people that I wanted to invite, a few of whom I just told her were asking about it. It's like she wants me to feel like crap. So I explained that I am taking charge, because we are clearly on different pages here. I picked a weekend for in May. I sent the invite yesterday, got 8 people signed up for the trip, booked a big house on the beach, and started looking at flights to get me and some friends to the East Coast. I am now officially excited. This morning, my sister says she has to talk to me. So I call her, and she tells me, "Oh, I'm sorry, but that weekend doesn't work for me. Oh, this is so terrible. I hope you're not mad at me. Life sucks." Okay, whatever at this point. I just want to move on with it. But I asked her why she can't go. And she said she was going to a NASCAR event with her boyfriend. My sister, who has more Cartier watches than most people have socks, who appointed herself to be my maid of honor for my long-awaited wedding, is missing my bachelorette shower weekend to go see a NASCAR race. It would be funny if it wasn't so insulting to me. I guess what I want to ask is, how can I get over this? I really need some advice on how to cope with this, and really truly enjoy what is the best time of my life. It is so unbelievably hurtful, and I just can't stop fuming about it. I know I could cut her out of the wedding. I know it's my choice, but I think that would cause more drama. There is clearly no way I can get through to her how important this is to me. I've tried. Am I overreaching? Is this normal behavior for a sister maid of honor? Edit. I really love my sister, and I don't want to approach this while the situation is guns a-blazing. So I think I am just going to lower my expectations from her immediately, start reaching out more to other friends and family, and focus on the good stuff. I'm so sorry. This sounds like an awful situation. You've handled everything so well up to this point. I don't think you should get over this. Your sister has been unhelpful, disrespectful, and walked all over you. Tell her that you're really sorry, but your friend is taking over maid of honor duties since she can't attend the event. Have the event. Don't change a thing. Make your friend maid of honor. If there's fallout, there's fallout. But your sister made choices that made her unable to perform her duties. So hold strong, and if she freaks out, too damn bad for her. She's a grown-up, and she should know that if she doesn't show up for a job, she's going to get fired. I visited my boyfriend's family for the first time, and it was so awkward. I was literally just sitting there at dinner, and his mom starts talking about how the neighbor girl is single and pretty and a good Christian. Ick. And she was going to invite her to New Year's. I was sitting there like, what the duck? I felt like she was trying to put me in my place or something, and despite my boyfriend declining, he was being very unassertive about it when I would have been saying, "What the absolute duck are you saying, Mom?" in his shoes. So I got up, got my casserole, cake, pie, and wine from the kitchen, and headed out, drove home to my place, and texted my boyfriend, "Not here for this reality dating show drama." "Is your mom always like this?" He asked me where I was, and I said I'd headed out. I'm not into trashy reality TV drama vibe. He asked where, and I said I was at home. He said he didn't want me to spend Christmas alone, and I said, "Come on by then." And he felt conflicted because his family was already tense after they realized I'd left with my cooking and the dessert. I said, "Come by or don't. Just tell me when you figure it out." But then I ate a bunch of casserole and cake, drank a lot of wine, and fell asleep. My boyfriend was texting and calling a lot when I was asleep, but I missed it all. He had apparently decided to leave the party and spend the night with me, but when I didn't answer, he ended up staying. The next day, I asked him if he sorted things out with his mom so she doesn't go saying that crap anymore. He said he'd said he wasn't interested when it was happening. I asked if he could have a serious talk after the fact, because I was there when it was happening, and I don't think she got it. He wasn't sure. So I just made other plans for New Year's because even though he'd invited me to his, I wanted a good time and not to be dealing with pettiness. My boyfriend was frustrated I dipped on New Year's too, and it's been an ongoing argument. I think he should have chewed out his mom on Christmas for being petty and weird. He thinks I shouldn't have ghosted with my food, especially because I'd brought a few big parts of the Christmas dinner. Am I the a-hole for dipping on Christmas dinner? Not the a-hole. Hell yes, you're my hero. Now, if boyfriend can't step up and be yours by having your back, he shouldn't get your dessert either. Not the a-hole. The best part was you taking the food back. He's exactly like his mother. Mother bringing in another girl while son has a girlfriend. Boyfriend says nothing. Mother treats girlfriend like she doesn't exist. No one gets cake. He's not an adult yet. He doesn't know what he wants. Run. Politely saying I'm not interested is what you do when someone offers you pie when you are kind of full. It leaves the possibility of pie open for later. You don't sit right in front of your girlfriend and leave the possibility of being offered the neighbor girl for later. The minimum possible response was to say, "You were talking about the neighbor really weird. If I didn't know better, I would think you were trying to set me up. But since my girlfriend, who I love, is right there, I know that isn't true because that would be really rude to both of us. Anyway, how is Aunt Bertha's knee doing? Do they think she needs surgery?" That doesn't start a fight, but draws a line.